What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today we're going to find out if Thor is worthy. Now, you might notice some flickering in the screen. That's because I'm using LD Player. I think I'm getting some flickering every once in a while ever since this update. I don't know if there's some kind of bug going on or whatever, but if you guys see some flickering in the screen, it's from my emulator playing the game, so some of you might not be experiencing the same thing as me, but it's very minor. It's not a big deal. Doesn't bother me too much. Now, is Thor worthy? Well, yes and no. Honestly, guys, I don't think he got really what he deserved. Even though they did change a few things on him, they did, give him his 20% increase to lightning damage here. They did change the 4 where you get the accumulation automatically. They did drop the all attack by 10%. It was 70%. Now it's 60%. Really, they should bump it back up to 70% because I don't feel it's enough. And they changed his accumulation from 0.3% to 0.6%. And he is a strong character, but honestly, I find that his survivability really isn't the greatest. And his heal still comes at the end of the skill, guys. You don't get it when you just hit the skill and cancel it. So it would have been so much better if you could have just hit the skill and got the heal. But no, you got to charge it up. Now, you'll find that 4th skill actually does quite a bit of damage. So does his 5th skill. And he only has this 3 seconds of invincibility. He's got a guard hit for his 3rd skill, which is trash. For World Boss, that's trash. It doesn't really matter. But the 4 is a nice long iframe, other than some parts of it. His tier 3, they gave him an all defense now. So in World Boss, as far other than Null and the last couple phases of Thanos, he's going to be really strong. He's going to be really great. Today, though, I'm just going to focus on Null because that's the world boss that most of us want to fight because we're going to be gaining more CCF. I'm not going to dive into any more of this update. I just want to focus on Thor because by the time I got this update, I was pretty much getting ready to go to work. So I just wanted to focus on this guy. You do get the increased damage by 35% for one attack, and they did change the animation a little bit. As far as my build, guys, I got 83% energy attack on my cards. He has 35,600 energy attack, but with no leadership. He has max attack speed. His crit rate is going to get maxed out from his 4th skill pretty much for the most part. It's on a 12-second cooldown, but the crit rate will last for 10 seconds. His critical damage is at 178, so I could have a little bit more critical damage, to be fair. And I do have max ignore defense, max skill cooldown, and my dodge is at 71%. And, he does have Urus on him. He has 5-star Urus, nothing special, a pretty free-to-play build, if you will. But I think I'm going to change some of these Urus and actually put some critical damage on them because I could switch some of these out and slap some critical damage on him to bump up his damage a little bit. But as you'll see against Null, he just isn't what he should be. Now, if we preview the skills, you can see that the 5th skill is pretty sweet. Now, you can't just cancel the 5th skill immediately. Like if you go 5 and then go into the 4, you don't get all the damage from the 5th skill. You gotta let the hammer raise up in the air, and then you can go into your other skills. So that's something to keep in mind. The 4 you can cancel and you'll get your buffs immediately, but if you notice in the top corner of the screen, whenever I hold it, and boom, there's the recovery at the end of the skill, which sucks. And then the 2 skill, you can move around, very nice skill. It doesn't quite start off as an instant iframe, but it does go into an iframe afterwards. So you're safe after it starts, and then you can move it around. Really cool skill. One skill, a little slam. It's not really a great skill, to be honest. But it is an iframe, help with survivability, except at the end of the skill. And then the 3rd skill is the guard. And you really, when you're in your rotation, now I'm playing with a CTP of Rage. Surprisingly, I already had a Rage on Thor. So I actually get to test him with a pretty much optimal build to show you guys just how strong he really is. And I just don't think it's enough. Then you see the tier 3, which kind of sucks because I don't have the SFX on. So let's turn on the SFX. And let's check this thing out now. We'll just run through the skills here. It is nice that you can pretty much almost cancel the 3, the 5, and the 4 immediately to get everything that you need, all your attack buffs and all the residual damage from the skills. The tier 3, the eyes light up, he puts the hammer up in the air, he slams down. I actually really like it, although I always loved his old tier 3 as well, but it's still pretty cool. Now it has that crazy 70% all defense down. So for World Boss, he's going to be insane. Now I haven't worked out a complete rotation because, like I said, guys, I just pretty much turned on the game, played a little bit, and that's all I've done. I leveled up his uniform a little bit, and that's it. I already had a fully awakened Power of Angry Hulk set on this guy. He does have the CTP of Rage with a 60% ignore boss damage decrease, which is the optimal Obelisk form. A CTP of Judgment would be really great for him. And honestly, an Obelisk, I don't think is really going to be the greatest for him. You can play with an Obelisk for sure, and you can play with a proc, but you're going to see the damage with a Rage, with 83% energy attack, with a Mythic uniform, and a fully awakened Power of Angry Hulk set, and it still just really isn't enough. He has the increased chain of damage, which is something they added on the APK. He gets to decrease all damage received by 20%, which is definitely good because he does lack a bit of survivability. He can die. His HP pull isn't what it should be, especially for a god. As far as his uniform options, I got him at Mythic. You got the first uniform with Sue that I have at Mythic. Dr. Octopus, which I have at Mythic. The next uniform, I got HP because I already have max ignore defense. Didn't ignore defense, so I tried to increase his survivability, and it is Ronin, which is great. And then we have Lady Deadpool, which a lot of people might have at Mythic, to be honest. And we're getting that extra dodge. And then we're getting extra critical damage from Miles Morales. Now, if we take old Thor into Null, because again, this is really where it's at. And you know what? We'll just go against stage 2. Just stage 2 because there's no tornadoes. And you see the team that I was running with, guys. We're just going to put Thor in the leadership. We're just going to put Thor in the leadership. And we're just going to put these two characters in there. And it's just going to be all Thor. Just all Thor. Now, I could do this with Moonstone. I could do this with Sharon Rogers. I could do this with Doctor Strange. You could probably do this with Ghost Rider. You could do this with Black Bolt. Characters that can do these solos without any support whatsoever. Now, to be fair, Black Bolt, you know, he does get a leadership, and certain characters get a leadership, but Sharon Rogers doesn't. Moonstone doesn't, right? Doctor Strange gets a little 30% leadership, you know. So I was actually quite disappointed with his damage. It just isn't what it should be. This is only stage 2. Look at my Valor. Look at my resist. Now watch. We have all damage to supervillains. And I really wish they would have gave us the heal at the beginning of the 4. Now, I know it sounds like I'm ranting, but I don't feel like he got what he deserved. I don't think Thor's as strong as he should be. Now, look, we're going to hit the 3rd skill. We're going to hit the 4. We're going to let that proc engage. And then we're going to hit the 5 and then go into the 2. Now, the damage isn't bad. It's not terrible by any means. Okay, we're going to watch out here. There we go. And there we go. And hit the 5 and then the tier 3. I should have turned the SFX off, but it's no big deal. It's not a real big deal when it comes to Thor in this stage. We're going to switch our character because if Thor gets caught in the symbiont vines there, he can freaking die. Like, seriously, guys, he doesn't have the greatest survivability. He can croak. Now, obviously, when you're using Valkyrie and you're going to get the extra decreased damage received, and that helps, but you shouldn't need a support for tier 3s. A tier 3, in my opinion, should be able to come in here and just plow through this. But it's not bad, is it? It's not bad. It's not bad damage. Run up here. And I just let the 4 go until the proc engages. Then I hit the 5 and then I go into the 2. And there our proc didn't even engage, bastard. And sometimes you'll notice that about Thor. He doesn't have any guaranteed critical rate. So his proc on a rage doesn't engage when it should. Now, just to give you guys an idea, and I've mentioned this before, Thor you should by 3 minutes and 30 seconds, you should be down to the next phase. But we're not. In fact, we're quite far from it. And I've actually got that proc pretty much where we want it. And by the way, in your rotation, you want to incorporate that 2 skill as well. So we're going to hit the 3, we're going to hit the 4, we're going to hit the 5, and then the tier 3. It just, honestly, guys, it isn't enough. And I know some of you can be like, well, you can just use the support. But you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to use the support. That's my whole problem with this. Like, he's the god, he's the herald of Galactus. Let him hit us here. We'll do the 3, the 4, then the 5, and then the 2. We didn't want to use our tier 3. Now look at that, guys. 2 minutes and 30 seconds, almost down to 2 minutes and 30 seconds by himself. There's no way that we could do a solo with him, with the rage, with the mythic uniform, with 83% energy attack. There is no way. It wouldn't happen. It's way too little damage. It's just not enough. I'm going to go ahead and turn that SFX off real quick, guys. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to come back in here. We're going to go against Null. And we're going to do stage 2 again. But this time, we're going to give him some support. We're going to give him Doctor Strange for this 30% energy attack. And I know we could use Beta Ray build. Matter of fact, let's put Beta Ray in there. Let's put Beta Ray in there. We'll get this 60% increase of lightning damage. That's really going to bump up Thor. And then we'll put Mystique in there for this extra damage to supervillains. You should not need Mystique. You shouldn't need her. But check this out. We'll come back in here. And by the way, it's really important when you're doing the tier 3 to make sure the proc is already engaged if you're playing with a CTP of Rage. So we're going to hit the 3, we're going to hit the 4. There's the 5, and then the 2. That 2 does a lot of good damage. Okay, we're going to watch out here. Whoa! And the proc didn't engage, but it did engage on the tier 3, which is good. Okay, we'll switch to Beta Ray. Now I know I could be using these other characters to do damage. But I've done solos with these other characters without switching them, without anything, which really shows the true power of a character. So you guys are seeing it right now. I mean, it's not bad, but look at all this support. Does he really need it? Should the Herald of Galactus need all of this? I don't think so, guys. I don't think you should need all this. Okay, switch. And like I said, you don't want to get caught in them vines. When them vines show up, you want to switch your damn character to something fierce. Okay, we'll switch. Okay, and booyah. Ooh. Okay. And there I try to get my heal because we're about ready to croak here. Okay, so now we're in the next phase. Now, we did that in a little under 3 minutes and 30 seconds, right? In a minute 30, right? But with all this support, should you need all of this? I don't think so, guys. I don't think so. Now, I know some people might say that it's good enough, and, you know, it is a massive upgrade from what he was, for sure. For sure. But the thing is, he's going to get another uniform whenever Love and Thunder comes out. So, I mean, I don't know whether or not to tell you guys to just hold off, because I don't think it's good enough. I think for a lot of accounts, you're going to have problems. Come on, proc, engage. And no proc engaged at all, which sucks. Okay, so, and that's another problem. Sometimes the rage proc doesn't engage, which kind of is a bummer. There we go. And again, you know, if that heal would come at the beginning of that 4, God Almighty, he would be so much better, guys. He would be so much better. So now I got to run around because I want my accumulation. We're going to start off with that 5. Here we go. I start off with the 5, that way we get our invincibility up, and we wouldn't hopefully take any damage. Because you got to be damn careful here. Okay, so we take them to the next phase, right? And like I said, you know, the damage is good enough, right? Like as far as having support. I saw some flickering there. Right? Okay, come on. I'm going to run over here. He's going to bring out his purple crap. I mean, Thor's got some decent movement speed. That's something that's really nice about him. I mean, it's not that he's a terrible character. He's actually really good. It's just, and there I died because I didn't make it to the circle. But you can see, guys, look, we're down to a minute. Yeah, he probably could have done this, and he could have done it with, having Mystique and Beta Ray Bill's insane lightning damage leadership. I don't think Thor should need that. I don't, if anything, just maybe one support. But I feel even with Beta Ray's leadership, he just wouldn't get it done. You got to do a lot of damage at the end. But, if you're mixing your characters and you're mixing the damage between all of your characters, you're going to do better. Honestly, when you use a tier 3 from one character and switch to another character, do another tier 3, you're going to do better. And that's the way I normally play. But I don't feel Thor is good enough. They really should, honestly, they should bump up his damage accumulation. This should be 1% and not 0.6. Let's see here. So if we take, if we take a look at Moonstone here, she has plus 1%. This is what Thor should be. This is what his should be. It doesn't make any sense. No offense to Moonstone. I'm glad she's strong. But why in the hell is the Herald of Galactus not, with the Odin Force on top of that, stronger than Odin, weaker than Moonstone? It shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be so. Once again, this is a classic case of Netmarble, trying to take full advantage of our love for these characters. He is not what he should be, guys. 48,000 HP is not enough. He really should have more HP. And honestly, this third skill should be a damn... he should have native super armor. He should have immunity on this skill instead of the stupid guard hit crap. He should at least have immunity. At least, even if he doesn't have super armor, he should at least have immunity instead of a guard hit to really help his survivability. Because if they're going to put that heal at the end of this skill, that sucks. When you're doing a rotation, a lot of times you can't just sit there and hold the 4 and try to get the heal if you need it. Sometimes you need to go into the 5th skill. You need to go into your tier 3 because your proc might engage. You might have to hit those skills to do the damage. You can't horse around and just wait to get your heals all the time. So I think that's actually trash. The heal should come at the beginning of the skill. He should have super armor. He should have immunity on his third skill. And honestly, the accumulation should be bumped up to plus 1%. Not 0.6. It was good what they did, and I'm happy with what they did as far as buffing him up in the APK, but honestly, I think he needs a little bit more of a buff. Should you get him, it's a much better uniform than what he had. He is leaps and bounds stronger than what he was. That's an absolute truth. But the truth is, the Love and Thunder movie will come out in about a year or so, and he's going to get another uniform. Netmarble's not going to miss that opportunity to make a little extra cash. So it's really up to you guys whether or not you think it's worth it. Honestly, I think if a character has, trouble doing a clear against stage 2 Null with a rage, with a mythic uniform, with all the energy attack that I have. Sometimes I have 100% energy attack because I have a 20% energy attack proc on my cards. I think for a lot of players, Thor just isn't going to cut it. He just isn't going to cut it for a lot of players. And you want characters that can cut it for all the players. Characters like Moonstone, characters like Sharon Rogers. He should be at least near that strength level, but he isn't. So maybe I expect too much. Maybe I think he should be more than what other people might think he should be. So let me know in the comments how you're all feeling about Thor. So, I'm actually slightly disappointed in this uniform. I think it looks awesome. I think the aesthetics are awesome. I think the animations look awesome. And I think they did some good for him, but I don't think it's enough. So let me know how y'all feeling about Thor, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one.